What's up, Black and Tan family? It's Donald here. Paul's remote, but we have a big audience today. To my right, it might be your left, but to my right, we have Trace. Trace is the owner of Catonsville Bike Shop, good friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. Really good guy. Probably one of the best people, like one of the best ride leaders I've ever met in my
Let's
time.
put it on a table. Let's put it on a table right now. Trace,
Yeah.
what bike did you last ride, and what color are the tires? That's what we have to know. Full disclosure.
Yeah. It was a 1984 5 Schwinn Predator with black tires.
You had an 85 Schwinn Predator?
I have the 85 Schwinn Predator I raced when I was sponsored by Schwinn.
The same bike?
I was going to ask that. When was that?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Let me tell you, my first race bike that my mom bought me from the Schwinn dealer in Laurel Schwinn, was a Schwinn Predator.
Yeah.
Around that time, because I was I think I was like eight or nine, and that was my race bike.
Yeah. This is a Black Shadow, so it's the tri-tube.
Is the black chrome?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man!
Yeah.
How awesome!
It's the most underrated BMX bike ever built.
So
but good. When you're 6'3" and 13 years old, it's the only BMX bike you can ride because they have a long top tube on them.
Right. All right. So we're going to come back to that.
We're not done with you.
We're not done. So to my left here is my shop manager at Elk Ridge. It's Dave. Dave rides lots of bikes. I think he has 15 bikes.
I ride all the bikes.
Hell yeah. All the bikes. And then to his left is my friend Mike. Mike rides in races for all types of disciplines.
Patapsco go bikes now.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't want to. That may not been announced yet. But
so why are you bringing it up?
I was going to let him say it. I was trying to cue him into saying who he raced for, right? But he races lots of different disciplines. He's going to focus this year on gravel.
Yep.
And the longer gravel races. So he did Unbound. I said it right. I always mess that up. I call it Outbound. And he just looks at me and shakes his head normally.
He said it for about 2 months.
Yeah, I couldn't stop. But anyway, so he races longer discipline gravel races. And then the guy who puts this all together, makes us sound good, makes us look good, of course, to his left is Elvis. Elvis is in the building.
What's up, everyone? We're live on Black and Tan and also on the other channel. So you guys can make sure you hit the like and put your comments up.
What other channel?
Oh, DMV MTB.
That's right.
So, won't be on Spanish today.
Yeah. So Elvis is where it makes me want to take dealing with Elvis makes me want to take Spanish lessons because I literally follow their podcast. It's 98% in Spanish, and I follow their podcast. And the way that I follow it is actually I have my phones open with Google Translator. And I'm reading as a and that's how good of a podcast it is though. So
we can do it. It can translate live, right?
It does. Yeah, as they're going, it's translating and I'm reading it.
Dictation. Yeah.
And I say it all the time. They've had me in my so theirs is a little late because they're doing it live for like Costa Rica and stuff like that. So it's a little late. It starts at like 11 our time. So my kid and my wife are fast asleep by then, and I'm down in the basement trying to hold in laughter because they crack me up sometimes. And I'm like, I've laughed out loud a couple times. And I'm like, damn, I'm gonna wake my wife up. But yeah, I follow along with Google Translator on my phone. So anything's possible, man. And we don't want to miss out on some good stuff if we have a choice.
I do want to, since we're on that subject, though, give a shout out to Donald, because we had one of our friends from Costa Rica that came out here to like visit us, and we were able to ride with him and spend some time. And Donald in the shop went the extra mile to like let him shop around the 3 stores and basically just hook him up with a great discount. He was really, really happy. And not only they did that, they also sent like a whole bunch of swag to the guys in Costa Rica. So thank you so much. Wanted to put it out there for what you guys did.
No problem. They're good guys. They're always giving a shout out. So it always works both ways, right? It's not like I'm just throwing free stuff out, because we don't have it like that to where I can just give away free stuff. But
listen though, I want the guys from Costa Rica to make us come down there and bike ride and surf. Listen, I want them to make us do that. Elvis, pass that on if they're not listening, please.
I don't think
I was going to jump to that before you pulled.
I want to go just
think-
so we're clear. I'm a goofy foot, so I want to go to Pavona's and do the biggest left or second biggest left in the world. Just so we're clear.
So we have a manager and we have the shop owner here, Paul, that we can possibly work on a sponsorship of them.
I like the way you're thinking.
Let me tell you, Paul has so many toys, so many houses, so much of this, so much of that. I'm trying to get him to adopt me. Are you kidding me? Like, I need to be sponsorship. He needs to sponsor me.
I need a dad.
Wait, you want me to be your dad? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah,
the movie
yeah,
was
for
Silence
sure.
of the Lambs.
Let's
Just so you're clear.
It's going to be that kind of podcast.
It's gonna be that kind of podcast. You would have bought more lotion.
Bring the
wouldn't
berry weight back.
Yeah. So yeah, the guys down in Costa Rica. Costa Rica is definitely a dream destination for me. Marla Streb used to live in Baltimore. She actually lives in Costa Rica now, and she wants to try to start a mountain bike park in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
But she was telling me that it was so hard building trails because it overgrows like right away.
Yeah.
She goes, by the time you get like a mile of trail in, you literally have to go back and cut the beginning all over again because it's overgrown. So I mean, I guess it's like rainforest or whatever,
Yeah.
Most people that I have talked to from like Central America and that area, they're like mountain biking is like what's gravel for us. So it's like I've been to Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Guatemala, and they're like, hey, we're going to take you mountain biking. But then we get there, and it's like all gravel. So they don't have like the single track that we have here to where like that's mountain biking for us.
Right.
When I say like to you, when my American accent, when I say Texas and California, does it sound really cool? Like when you say Nicaragua and stuff like that?
He really dropped that, didn't he?
That bad boy sounded.
He just threw a
Did it
switch.
sound cool? It sounded cool as shit. I was like,
Elvis does not
my-
want to lose his. He does not want to lose his street cred. He does
no.
not want to do that.
I was like, to him when I say Delaware, Texas, does that sound cool? It doesn't sound cool, does it? But yeah, that's like a dream. That's like one of those dream destinations, man.
The views are just like it. I mean, we're used to Maryland. I mean, I've been riding Maryland for like 20 years.
You can say it. We don't have views.
It's like, you see like straight ahead and you don't see a mountain, at least in this area where we are. But like when you go over there, it's like you see like, oh snap, we're climbing that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you ever been to Colorado?
No.
I would love to compare the views there to what we have in Colorado. I mean, honestly, there's nothing that I've encountered that's more beautiful than Colorado. Like
Right.
It's a little bit of everything. You can be in the middle of a plateau, a desert plateau, maybe at 6,000 feet. It'd be 85, 90 degrees there. You look off and you see these huge mountains with snow on top of them. And it's like, damn, dude, that's like right there. Or you can be on top of a shelf and you look down and it's a Colorado River 1,000 feet down.
Yeah.
It's the craziest stuff. And you're like, you look around and you just feel like you're in a postcard. You feel like everything around you, it's not real. And that's why I tell everybody, like, man, if you have the means to travel, get your ass out of Maryland and go look around, because you'll be surprised at what we have here in the States.
Anywhere out west, really.
Montana.
Yeah.
I just did Montana a month ago and did some downhill out there. It's epic.
Yeah. I can imagine. I've never been to Montana.
Mike, where were you? Where were you in Montana?
I was in Big Sky.
Oh, wow.
And you'd be proud of this. I did some fly fishing too.
Nice. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. For people that don't know, that's another one of Paul's hobbies, Dr. Lavelli.
Skiing is one of my hobbies.
You know what? I went around the entire table.
Fly fishing or skiing, both of them.
I went around the entire table and introduced everybody, but people that may be new to Black and Tan. The gentleman that's not with us, who is on the screen, is Dr. Paul Lavelli. Oh my goodness. You had that set up.
I thought you were going to drop my father.
We were just talking about 3D printing stuff, man.
Trace is being so nice because I think it's a DADDY. That's where I was going. Just so
Right. Who's your daddy? So today's episode is a little different. Normally we have like guests on and we speak about specific things, but today it's just going to be kind of like a round table between us guys on this end of the table. We're more industry guys, right? So we can. I want to talk about the industry and where we are in the industry with cycling. I want Mike to specifically talk about his side and how he trains, because it's really interesting on how he trains and the nutritional side of what he does. So I think let's just talk bikes. It's pretty easy. I mean, have a conversation about bikes. So, I want to start it off with something that I did last night that shocked me. So we close here at 7:00. At 6:00, I got on live and I said to everyone, I was like, for the next hour, I'm going to sell every bike that we have in stock at dealer cost, period. Landing costs, our landing costs, which is cost plus shipping plus, whatever else. But Trace, that's bold.
Yeah.
That's bold, right? Dude, I got 0 people take advantage of that. And it gives me a count on how many people saw it, right? So by 7:00, there were like 90 something people that saw it. So out of 90 people, no one was willing to take advantage of a sale that deep on new product. I said any bike that we had in stock. So if they wanted to pick up an SL8 at dealer landing costs, I was going to sell them an SL8 at dealer landing costs. No one jumped on it. To really understand it, that's like 30% off, maybe 25, 30% off, which is huge in bikes, because Trace, you can tell them we don't make nothing on bikes.
Not anything.
No, we don't make anything.
Not enough.
Well, bikes are the necessary evil of a bike shop. You know what I mean? It's like they take up the most space. You have to invest the most money, and they give you a lot of times the least return out of everything that we have. So it's like.
Do you think sales are down? Are sales across the bike industry down?
100%.
Maybe more than 100%.
Yeah. Now we compete with so much other stuff. All this influx of all the bikes that people bought during COVID that didn't stick with it. We're competing with the used market. We're competing with the bike, sometimes even the bike brands themselves, selling them for less than what our cost is. It's wild. Which
is really tough when you bought a bunch of bikes and then you're not getting that on the back end. Like they're not dropping the cost for you. You've been holding on to them for a year, and then all of a sudden they have a sale, and now 30% becomes 10%.
And Donald,
not just.
So you're just blowing inventory, really.
I was just going to say, based off of observation, every time I come in here, it seems like everybody is requesting price matching from an online sale, from say Specialized or whoever it may be. If you can price match, I feel like every time I come in here, that's what
Yeah. So, I mean,
Everybody's always asking for it.
so
Can I tell you from a layman's perspective? Not everybody knows how the bike shop works. Like Tracy said, I bought a lot of bikes. Some people think the bikes are you're a representative of the brand and you haven't paid money for that bike.
Yeah,
I'm,
like
I'm
you're
telling you
committed.
from
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true, Paul.
Yeah, that's not true at all. So I'll tell you how typically it works, right? There's most major brands are going to give you levels, right? And they ask you to buy in at a certain level. If you buy in, they'll give you pretty good dates. If you're buying in and you say, all right, well, I'll do $300,000 worth of Specialized. That's close to what we did this year just now, right? So we'll buy $300,000 in bikes, and they're going to give me dates out like April, May, June. So come April, May, June, it's a third. They're like the mob. You're going to pay them that third April, that third May, and that third June, period.
Regardless of whether you sold those bikes.
Regardless of whether you sold them or not. So in Maryland, the reason that that's so difficult for us is
Weather.
because we could be shut down next month. I mean, next month, we could have a snowfall in Maryland. We only get 4 inches here, and 4 inches will shut us down for 3 days. Right?
What do they call us?
Yeah.
The bipolar state when it comes to weather?
100%. Right? So,
Did we order any fat bikes?
right. I mean, the thing is also, I always say everything that we put on our floor is a mini investment, right? So we need to get turnover on our investment. If you're not selling a lot of bikes, you better have a really strong workshop,
Yeah.
but you still need people to come in
Right.
for the workshop.
Yeah. And then the longer they sit, they're just slowly eating away your margin.
Yeah. So if you
Bit
say,
by
for instance,
So I have a question. So if you like, let's say someone wants to buy it, like if you were a shop, but you're like, okay, I'm just gonna work off their website, and instead of me ordering bike, I guess it would be two questions in one. Instead of you ordering bike, you're like, okay, I would just order the bike as the customer comes. Like, hey, I want the new Epic, but you don't have it in stock.
so yeah, so that you could work that way for sure. I'm sure you can do that. But the minute that you, as a bike shop that has no bikes really on your floor, and you're ordering everything off their website, as soon as that person comes into my shop, and I laugh and I smile because it's like a spider in web, right? As soon as that person comes to my shop to actually try to test ride that bike,
True.
they ain't going back to your shop.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm not letting them go back to your shop. I'm gonna give them a great deal. They're gonna buy the bike from me. So
It's funny you say that because that happened today. Like you didn't have her size, but she's like, I still want to test ride this model today.
that's right.
And then potentially order my size.
That's right.
Which
So
it was
you
just a
saw-
size
yeah.
bigger.
So you saw all the things that I had to do with that customer. I made sure I got her contact information. I made sure I got what kind of bike she's looking for. I gave her several choices to go
Mhm.
with. I did everything I can do to try to get her to come back to this shop.
Right.
Because if she goes down the street, I hope that the person down the street's going to be just like I am and is going to make sure she leaves with the bike. I don't
Right.
want her to go down the street. I want to give her the best customer service. I want to make sure that she looks at the shop and goes, damn, okay, well, they don't have the bike I want, but damn, that dude went out of his way to make sure that he answered all my questions.
Right.
And that's it. Every customer counts now. Every customer counts. We literally, it's the worst thing ever as far as like who we're in competition with now. It used to be literally the bike shops were in competition with the other bike shops. Back in the day, maybe when mail order first came out, we do a little bit of mail order competition. Or if a big box store came in, like Bikes USA came in a long time ago. Remember when
Right,
they came
yeah,
into
yeah.
Columbia and we all panicked for a minute? We're like, dude, how are we going to compete with Bikes USA? They have 400 bikes on their floor. What are you going to do? That was our competition. Looking back at that, that's nothing compared to what I'm in competition with now. I'm in direct competition with my own vendor. Right. So I tell people this: imagine being involved in a game that you don't the guy that you're competing against makes the rules. They invented the game, and they can change it whenever they want, right? You're never going to win.
And they give you the pieces to play with.
Yeah,
They give you the
and they provide the uniform, right? Like everything. Like
It's every brand like that. Not to throw names out there, but it's every brand like that. Like
No.
not every brand, but I'm going to tell you now that most of the major brands are,
Except Giant.
except for Giant. But But listen, Giant has their own rules that they make. Let me tell you why Giant's a little different. Because a lot of people don't realize that Giant's number one.
yeah,
You go look up who's the biggest bike manufacturer in the world right now.
80%.
As the name would suggest, they are the largest
So,
bicycle manufacturer.
There's a story behind Giant. I think did I tell you the story behind Giant?
I'm not sure.
someone on the chat said Amazon is killing everyone too.
It is, but not so much in it depends on what kind of shop you are. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things that a lot of things that we sell on the high end that you can't buy on Amazon.
Yeah. And you have to adapt as a shop too.
Right.
I mean, you know, hey, you want to buy the bike on Amazon? Most people can't build it. Right. So you take care of it there. Then you have a customer for life. And then when that Amazon bike doesn't live up to what they wanted, right, you've got that person coming back to you. Right. That part of it's critical. Like the people that kind of diss the online purchasing, right, to a degree. And I'm not talking about major manufacturers selling it online, but people that, oh, you bought these parts online, I'm not going to install it. They're dinosaurs right off the bat.
Right.
Like you have to embrace it as much as you don't like it. Like, you know, I mean, if we're throwing out names, you can go Shimano, their people can go online and buy stuff at less than we pay for it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if I tell that guy, nah, I'm not going to put that on. Now you bought that from some, you know, online place in Europe, and you know you can sing the warranty and all that sort of thing. But if you don't take care of that person, like you're a dinosaur. You're just giving away money.
I'm telling you now, someone else will.
Yeah, somebody else will put it on, and there are shops that do that, and I don't understand it, but
I know shops that refuse so many different styles of bikes and this and that. And the only one that I kind of get a little bit nervous about taking in are like some of the e-bikes where you need specialty tools, you need this and that, and you know what I mean? Like to build it correctly. I don't want to put ourselves in a situation where it's a liability, where we didn't quite do this or that to the specs that they need. But other than that, man, it's very few things that I'll turn away. I don't like working on replica bikes, fake bikes.
yeah,
That was going to be my question since you already touched it. What's like, how do you know? I mean, you guys been doing it for a while.
Right? That's the biggest thing, isn't it?
You know,
Yeah.
trust me.
Yeah.
You can just look at them.
They don't build up the same, like where it may take us, if we take our time, it may take us an hour to build, an hour and a half to build one of our bikes out of the box with Specialized, like one of the higher end S-Works bikes. Everything's going to line up. Everything's going to be like almost perfect. I mean, literally perfect. And then we'll get a bike that's an S wish I were, right? and the thing is, I mean, from 5 feet away, and if you don't know bikes, from 5 feet away, this carbon bike that cost that person $700 or less than $1,000 from 5 feet away, it looks the part. But let me tell you how bad they build up. Instead of an hour and a half, it's 3.5 to 4 hours to build this bike, right? We charge an hourly wage. You know, when am I going to charge this person to build this bike? Never mind the fact that our hands are the last ones to touch it. What if those handlebars break when he's going down the road and this guy crashes?
and they do.
Yeah.
What if this frame cracks and it causes the entire peloton to crash, and we were the last ones that touched it? You know, it's a liability thing, right? So the scariest word in business is liability. Like, who's responsible for this? Who's responsible for that? If someone gets sued, who are they going to go after, right? So a lot of times people just don't think of things like that. And, you know, those are the things that are scary about the fake bikes.
I mean,
That's
how often do you guys see those bikes come in? Is it like every month, every week?
Not that often.
Not that often.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see them.
At least once a month, we'll see one.
Yeah, we see them. We see them for
See
sure.
some FUBUs.
I
have some team guys that buy that stuff and build it. You know,
for sure.
they bring them in.
I'm gonna be honest, and just because when I started biking, I didn't have access to a lot of stuff that I have access to now, and I did buy some FUBU stuff, you know. But this was me like starting. Like I want to make my bike lighter, I want to make it cool, but then like what you're saying, like the liability, not just on what you're buying, but also on yourself. And like I didn't know, like that a carbon handlebar can split in the middle while I'm going downhill.
Elvis,
Yeah.
you're throwing me under the bus, man. You were throwing me under the bus right now.
No. So here,
Doesn't he have a FUBU stem?
no. Guys, there's a
I had the carbon handlebars that split.
no. Listen.
Oh.
But there's a huge difference between what I mean that are knockoffs, right? Where they actually say specialized S-Works.
Oh, okay,
right? Versus the Chinese stuff. Like everybody
AliExpress stuff.
Right. People always confuse the me when I say like fake this or fake that. They automatically assume that it's all the Chinese stuff. It's not the Chinese stuff. It's literally the stuff that's designed to look like an S-Works, designed to look like the Rapide bars. They're not. They're completely fake. They actually say Rapide on them. They actually say Specialized on them, right? Those are the ones, like, I'm pretty sure I got a Cannondale back there right now that me and Dave were looking at and like, I don't know what model this one is. I've never seen this one.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Tracy and Donald, but probably the largest market or brand, I should say, of replica fake bikes, Pinarello, isn't it? Is that one of the largest ones? And they're everywhere. I mean,
Man, I don't know. Specialized is up there.
I think all the major brands are victim.
Yeah.
Right?
Nobody fakes a Giant. I carry Giant, but nobody fakes a Giant. Like there's no reason to. It's just not. Maybe not. I don't want to say they don't, but you don't see those in the States because what Giant is here is nothing like what they are everywhere else globally.
Right. So
in Asia, they're huge.
People think Giant bicycles is more of a B brand here in the United States, when in reality, they make everybody else's stuff for them. Yeah. So there's a story on how Giant came about, and I started to tell that story. The story is Schwinn, back in the day, used to have all their bikes made by Giant. Schwinn went bankrupt after they had made this huge order with Giant. I mean, thousands and thousands of bikes. And I like I said, this is the story that I got. It may,
I'll give you a good special.
Yeah.
Specialized when you're done.
So, Giant, Schwinn went bankrupt and left Giant with cargo containers of bikes. So Giant's, their answer was basically, we're going to stick our name on them and we'll sell these bikes that we have left over. And that's how Giant came about. But Giant makes Treks, Giant makes Specialized, Giant makes their own bikes, obviously. And tons of other smaller brands are all coming through the Giant factory to a certain extent. Now, that doesn't mean that they're all the same. A lot of people say, oh, they're all the same bikes. They're all made in the same factory. No, that's not true. They're made in that factory. That factory is designed to make bicycles, but it's made to different specifications depending upon who's making it. There's certain patents that they'll only make this bike for this company because they hold a patent to that. So they're not all made the same. They're not all, just because they're under the same roof being made doesn't mean they're the same bike.
Are there the same carbon though?
No, not at all. There's designated carbon, there's designated metals, there's designated alloys that are only made for certain companies. Giant just has all the tooling to put it all together for them.
And carbon's different than aluminum. Aluminum was there's like a finite number of forges in China. Giant owns most of them. So Giant has a couple. ASI, which is Fuji, I think has one. Gijino, which is Jameis. They have one. So the majority of aluminum bikes are all coming from the same forges. And then from there, they kind of branch out, when it comes to components, essentially they all have the same components in one way or another, but and then you have the assembly plants and, one of the things Donna was talking about. So Giant, they had the Schwinn thing. Then if you're old enough to have seen them, there were Giant bicycles that were branded Giant, and they were specialized. And on the inside of the chainstay, in the same color as the paint.
Yeah. So those are going to be
designed by Specialized.
Those are going to be the Giant NRS bikes. NRS was available. NRS is a suspension geometry or suspension platform that Giant had that came out in Europe first, and in all the magazines it was the hottest thing, but we didn't get it here in the United States because it was a patent infringement to bring it here into the United States. So Giant was like, and the patent was owned by Specialized. So Giant was like, I'm bringing the bikes in. And Specialized was like, no, you can't. You can't bring them into the States because we own the patent and we don't want them here. That's our thing. That's what we're doing in the States. You can't take that market away from us. So basically Giant just said, fine, we won't make any of your bikes. How's that? Go get your bikes made somewhere else. Over this one bike, we'll just not make your bikes. And Specialized was like, okay, fine, but every one of your bikes has to have our sticker on it that comes in and our patent number. So the same exact color of the bike, every bike, Giant said, fine, we'll put your Specialized sticker on. If it's a yellow bike, it's going to be a yellow sticker. And it literally just disappears. You have to look for it. You have to look for it. It's on the NRS bikes. It's on the inside of the chainstay, right where the tire would almost rub it. And it says it right there. I used to point it out to people, and we all used to laugh when people would be like, I said, there's a Specialized sticker on that Giant. They're like, no, it's not. I was like, yeah, it is. And these are people that own the bike. They're like, no, I've never seen a Specialized sticker. I'm like, here, I'll show it to you. And I would show it to them. If it was a white bike, it'd be a white sticker. If it was a yellow bike, it'd be a yellow sticker, and it'd be exactly the same color as the paint. But if you look, they did what they said they were going to do. Every bike had a Specialized sticker on it. But Giant is a big company, man.
Yeah, they're massive. And they a lot of it is like assembly, right? So you can tell. So especially with Trek, right? Giant and Trek have like a long history, and they every now and then I think Trek says, hey, you know what? We're going to assemble our own bikes. And if you ever worked for Trek, you would know when they were assembling their own bikes, because they came in and instead of taking you 45 minutes to build it, it'd take you an hour and a half. They're half put together, so bikes come, for people that don't know, some come, the drivetrain's already hooked up.
Right.
You got your shifter strings and everything ready to go. And you're hiring stuff, usually not, but when you're building the Trek, it's completely different than, say, building a Giant, because Giants, that's what they did. That's who they were. They're a manufacturer first, right? So, and their brand kind of came along that way. They essentially had the same things they have with Specialized, they had with Trek. And then, Trek would branch out and they'd open a factory. I mean, I'm kind of paraphrasing it and like making it really basic, but Giant for a long time, they didn't have 29er women's mountain bikes. They didn't have 29er, full suspension.
That's right.
Like, and what would happen then, that was because of Trek, Specialized to a degree. They said, you're building our bikes, you're assembling them, so you can't infringe on that market. Or Giant would say, we're not going to infringe on that market. And as soon as they would open up a plant somewhere else on their own, well, then Giant had these designs loaded and ready to go. And here came, it was a new design for Giant, but they'd had it all along. And you're like, Trek comes back. Oh, we can't do it, because I open from time to time. I'll open a box and I'll call my rep and be like, hey, did Giant just take over a Trek plant? And he's like, he'll tell me,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Philippines or wherever that might be. I'm just like kind of making up a place, but you can tell the difference
Right.
when you get
That's-
it. Now in the end, like, they're, when you're talking, sort of your family style bikes, which is what I, primarily sell, there's nuance, the difference from one brand to another. You can say they're all the same. They all have the same parts. They all
there's
I was
run
gonna
the
there's
same.
ask
no
that.
performance enhancing features on them, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's just a brand preference for people,
Right.
right.
On the car industry, if you want to switch it up a little bit, there's known for like sharing like models. And when a company is sharing like a model, they put a passport in the back of the car. Is that something on the bike industry or not really? Like there was, and before we get into that,
so you do have
wait,
on.
Donald. So when the new World Cup bike came out, there was like all this talk that it looked just like the Trek caliper, Excalibur, yeah.
Super caliper, right?
Super makes it faster.
Yeah, we don't talk Trek too much. I mean, we just don't. I mean, it's nothing wrong with Trek bikes. I mean, they're great bikes, but we don't sell them. I've never sold. Have you ever sold Trek?
Them trucks are fast. I did when I worked for Jeffrey.
Okay, yeah.
On the bike industry, there's not a thing like, hey, we're gonna share.
There's a lot of
patents
sharing,
or like
there's tons of sharing patents, tons. So VPP, the VPP suspension system was shared by so many. It was shared by Santa Cruz had it, I believe.
What is that?
Virtual pivot. Yeah, virtual pivot point. It's a design in the full suspension bikes, and it was shared by Intense had it. Santa Cruz had it. There was, I want to say Pivot had it.
Pivot was DW.
DW,
With
which was also shared.
Yeah, with Ibis.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of sharing that goes on, and they develop it. And there's a lot of sharing from the automotive industry to the cycling industry also. So I worked for a company called Ellsworth, and Ellsworth got their design for their suspension from a Formula One car.
Oh wow!
Front suspension, and theirs was a patent that was patented, and they shared that patent from that. So these designs and the patents are shared all over the place.
Well, think about it this way: carbon fiber, in a way, it came from the aerospace industry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
It's once a material is used or once a patent is used, if it really works, then you'll see it everywhere. It's just a matter of marketing it. Who can actually sell that patent better, right? Or that design better. So it really levels the playing field. That means that, so if they have the same patent on the suspension and they work relatively the same, there's probably going to be something else on that bike that stands apart, right? So for instance, when Santa Cruz and Intense were sharing basically the same exact suspension, Santa Cruz was more of the fun, cool bike, while Intense we're the racing bike. If you're looking to be a racer, you want an Intense.
More intense.
More
Yeah.
intense.
If you wanted to go out and have a good time and rip it with your friends, you're probably going to get on a Santa Cruz. Different geometries work better for different things.
One question on the industry side. Do you guys think, like, when my buddy came from Costa Rica, he said, he was asking me like certain brands, and I was like, I never seen it before. Do you guys think we have some brands that we use like on the East Coast and some other brands that are more popular on the West Coast? And what would be like an example of that? Like in my case, like he was talking about Rocky Mountain. I was like, we don't really see it here. There, Patasco Bicycle sells it, but you don't see like a lot of people on like, Rocky Mountains or like Scott's or things like that. So you guys think like on this side of town we get X brand, on the other side of town we get another brand that might be more popular?
So we had Cannondale here back in the day. Yeah. When Cannondale was crazy popular here.
I started with a Cannondale.
Yeah, when Cannondale was crazy popular here, there were no Cannondales on the west side, on the West Coast. You go out and check out where's Yeti made now. They're out
Isn't
west.
it like Colorado?
Yeah, I
Colorado.
think it's Colorado.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't know that. Everywhere in Colorado, people were, at one point, everybody had a Yeti. It was
Yeah.
almost
Yeti.
like something was wrong if you didn't ride a Yeti. But we didn't see. I mean, you can go on a trail during the peak of when Yetis were around. You might see one out of
Yeah, you don't see
every-
it. Yeah, even now you don't see it that often. It's rare. I mean, not rare, but I know a couple
What-
of people that ride.
Even with Santa Cruz, Ibis is in
Ibis, yeah.
Santa Cruz.
Do you
They
see-
were
what would be the count of like to one?
like ratio.
Yeah, what would be the ratio that you would see, like even at the peak of a bike that was made like a West Coast bike?
What about Canyon? Like, is that a good example?
No, because they're sold everywhere.
Yeah.
But aren't they direct to consumer? And
They're direct
They
to
are.
consumer,
Yeah.
and they're. I mean, the young lady that came in today, I had a
Mhm.
great conversation about Canyon to her. That what I see out of Canyon is, and I'm going to be as honest about it as possible. When the bikes are working, when you go to buy a Canyon, customer service is going to be there. Everything's going to be there. They're going to take your money. The cost is definitely cheaper than what you would buy one of our higher end bikes for, right?
They're bikes.
They're bikes,
Right.
You buying them at a discount. There's no middleman. Right?
To a degree.
Oh,
Yeah, to a degree.
That's why.
You're buying them.
that makes sense
But
now.
let me tell you, you let something go wrong with that bike, and then come talk to me, because I can tell you now from experience. I have a friend named Mark Perks. A friend named Mark Perks, a good friend of the shop. He went through hell with Canyon. It started off with a squeaky seat post, and it ended with one little stripped bolt.
Was that a road bike?
It was.
Yeah.
One little stripped bolt on the back of his bike, right? I mean, it was a little teeny strip bolt. Canyon tells him, we don't sell that bolt separate. It's only part of a frame. So you're telling me because I stripped a 4 millimeter Allen bolt that my frame is total? That's exactly what they were telling him. Your frame's done, is what they told him. You strip that one bolt on the back of your
Then
seat,
you're out.
and you're done. We don't have that part that fixes it. So what I did was I went to a hardware store. I made the part for him. I made the part for him.
Thought I was the only one doing things like that at my
It
house.
gets better.
No, Elvis, he got to use his
Right?
Dremel
Yeah.
even. He got to use the Dremel.
Yeah, I got to use the Dremel. A good
Donald's
day.
favorite tool.
That's right. Hammers and Dremels. Those are the two tools that can actually make themselves, by the way, just in case you guys need to know that. The only two tools in existence that can create themselves are hammers and Dremels. All right. just a little trivia for you. So
You should really sleep. You should try sleep. It really is a good thing for people.
no, because when I sleep, I dream about more stuff like this.
The other things that I can say about Canyon, and nothing wrong with their bikes. One, you can't test ride them anywhere.
Yeah.
You buy them online. They ship them to your house. You don't know how to assemble that bike. You take it to a bike shop. Now, all the money that you just saved buying this bike, paying a bike shop to assemble it for you professionally.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And then what happens if it's not the right size and you have to return it?
Then you have to pay that bike shop to disassemble the bike and ship it back. And then you're out, everything that you would have if you had just walked into your local bike shop and had a conversation with someone.
I'm gonna charge you a couple $100 to assemble that Canyon. It's not a tune-up.
What are you going to do when it cracks?
You're gonna call Canyon and hopefully they answer.
Yeah.
Well, going back to my point, I mean, that's kind of why I brought it up. I mean, I would say in every group ride, I see maybe out of, I don't know, 60 people in a group ride, 40 people in a group ride, maybe one or two Canyons,
Yeah.
So it goes
They're out
back
there.
to my point. I mean, they're out there, but
They're out there. They're for sure
on
out
the
there.
West Coast, which you have more familiarity with, I don't.
It's
Maybe-
about the same. The West Coast is specialized territory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mess they market the hell out of. I mean, that's where they are, right? They market the hell out of the West Coast. You go out to the West Coast, you don't see hardly anything, especially on the road. Go look at some of these crit races from out west, like
they all seem like
all
specialized.
men. You'll count.
It's like their religion.
It is.
Yeah,
it really is. It really is.
Yeah.
It's crazy how they're marketed. I think they're marketed. I think there's more. The ratio is greater in out west for specialized than it is here on our side.
I saw the numbers though. I was going to look it up, but there was like a crazy amount of how much Specialized puts down on marketing their stuff. I mean, even just on the tours, they have like
and the legal fees.
I mean, dude, there's so much stuff that goes on. I mean, it's crazy.
Before we leave the subject of the bikes and all of that, the industry, if you had to ride one bike, and this goes for everyone, even from Paul, what brand would that be for the rest of your life?
That's hard.
Specialized.
If it comes to mountain biking, the one brand that you have to choose.
Sure.
Especially, we have two.
Specialized.
Paul,
Specialized.
I was about to say,
Special-
Paul, you're the newest Specialized
He's
brand
riding
ambassador that we have at our
Specialized.
shop.
I will say for road, I've always aspired, and just because of its rich history, but I've always wanted a Colnago.
oh wow!
And I don't know, something about the aesthetics of them. I don't know if you guys have ever
As
seen
a
So we got a
bike?
Tiger
No,
Pogacar
as a road bike.
fan here.
I said as a preface.
right,
but
right. Yeah.
For me, I don't know, something.
Buy a real one and not one off of AliExpress.
Yeah.
It's only 20K.
And well, the beauty is you can have them entirely custom made to your specifications.
Yeah,
So if I did that, I would go to Italy and buy.
Yeah.
To the
So
one.
it gets even better. You can tour the Colnago factory. Ernesto Colnago lives up the street. He might even be in there signing autographs and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's a good choice, but it's stupid, but it's good for you, I guess. I wouldn't go that way.
Didn't they
That's
auction
crazy.
off? Didn't they auction off $250,000
Why would you
gold
say-
bike this past year?
Yes, but why would you say Colnago, bro?
Because I said I've aspired to always want to get.
Yeah,
one.
but
That's like
and actually more particularly the old steel.
Yeah,
Colnagos.
there you
Okay.
go. Now you're
You know,
getting
those to me, I don't know. Something.
Dave,
something
what was your
special about
option?
those.
No, I was going to say, I've seen some Colnagos, like some C64s and stuff like that up close, and their quality is not what you would think it is.
are we
Okay.
talking the hand painted older ones?
Well, I was talking about like in general. What would be your brand that you will like stick with? Like,
Oh,
Specialized, I'll help
Yeah,
it.
I'm
Dave?
specialized. I'm a specialized head, man. That's it.
Is my
It's-
budget
I just like
unlimited?
bikes.
it's unlimited budget. Yeah.
And I will
Right.
say this:
Unlimited
Dave only wants SRAM,
Giant.
so everybody knows.
Shrimp.
If you don't have a lot of money, giant
Giant.
No, I get it. Dude, I sold.
maestro.
I sold. The
I mean, do you want to
shit.
climb? Do you want to have an easy climb, or you want to have a hard climb?
Easy climb always.
Oh, you
So-
want maestro suspension?
Listen, I sold. I don't know. I got to get him on that new World Cup.
Oh yeah,
It's a
dude. I
cheat
was
code.
watching that
It's a
bike
cheat
today when he
I'm a
was
fat-
climbing.
I'm a fat boy, so it does matter.
It
Is
was,
it not smooth?
dude. There was no flex when he was climbing. So
That bike, dude.
Paul, it is a cheat code. We rode with him the other day. It is.
we have to get a
I'm
sponsorship
200.
for the new bike, Paul.
I'm 210 pounds. I need all the cheat code I can get.
What is it we
That
used
was
to
a-
say? We
that
can
was this
climb with
morning.
anybody for 2 minutes,
Yeah, not even anymore.
maybe a minute now.
now
Now
my
maybe 30
2 minutes,
seconds.
My 2 minutes is dropped down
Yeah.
to man. For 30 seconds, I can hang on to anybody's wheel for 30 seconds, bro.
There was a
3-0?
time when
3-0?
Donald and I used to pull the train on a flat.
on a bicycle, guys.
All those little guys. Yeah. Let's be specific.
What the hell?
gotten
Barry White
with that.
My wife and kids are watching this show.
Speaking of wife and kids, I'm going to bring this up. I remember the first time Donald met his wife. Like, I think you guys had met, but the very first group ride they did together,
Yeah.
I was there and rode
sure.
with them,
Yep. As a matter of fact,
which is a pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that tells you how far back we go.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
yeah. So my wife literally, if it wasn't for people like Trace and some of the other guys from Velo. My wife will not ride with other people, period. Because if I go off and I'm riding with Trace used to always sacrifice his rides and just sweep and take care of everybody. And he would do his rides. We'd be all on
Till we got the race road.
yeah, we'd all be on our race bikes, and Trace would have his fat tire road bike, and he would just ride with everybody and make sure everybody was good to go. All right. See, this distraction. What,
Distraction.
yeah, bring.
Someone said, "Hola, papi."
Donald, get out your translator.
Yeah. What does that translate to exactly?
There is one new industry that I'm kind of like looking at. It's MV. They're making bikes now.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about their? Is it a road bike or a gravel bike?
Before you jump into it, I read up on MV, and they will actually build the bike specific to your geometry fitting.
For like $30,000?
No, it's actually fairly priced. I think it's on for their high end road bike. It's under like 4 or 5K.
So
For the frame.
I sell Envy. I sell Envy. Envy stuff is really good, but place your order for that frame now, and hopefully you don't have anything going on until
For 5 years.
Yeah, until 2025, because you ain't getting it anytime. But I mean, to be honest with you, let's just be fair with them also. Any kind of custom bike that you order, you ain't getting it right away.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
I have friends that make custom steel frames that are incredible. Like this guy, Chris Bishop, makes a steel frame. Order your Bishop bike today and see when you get it. And he's going to make you pay in full now. And you won't get that bike. It's probably, I think, about a 2-year wait.
Yeah.
He's Maryland based, right? Bishop Bikes is Maryland based?
He started in Maryland. He started out of Baltimore.
Gotcha.
I remember when John Hollins used to make bikes.
So it's kind of like, it's more like ordering like a piece of art. Like, hey, I would like to.
One, especially Bishop's bikes.
Okay. Bishop
makes legit the most beautiful that I've ever seen. The most beautiful bikes I've ever seen. They're all handmade. They're when you say art, it is freaking artwork. Like I don't know why anybody would want to ride them.
But they're steel bikes, right, Don?
They're steel, but they're custom steel lug bikes with hand polished lugs, hand painted. I mean, custom geometry. They are the most beautiful bike you can see.
They take. I mean, that kind of person. I mean, it's bespoke, right? They're craftsmen, and there are so many combinations. I mean, the days of steel is real. Right. I belong to a group on Facebook called Steel is Real because I collect old, cool. I've got like a collection of like 15 bikes that are, from each era, the 70s,
frames,
the 80s.
Frame or
a lot of them are built up.
Okay.
Yeah. And, there was a time where like that was, everybody, you can walk in and buy a fast carbon bike now. When it was steel, it wasn't just like that. Like, I mean, you could buy a nice one. Like, I mean, if you're talking back in the days when Schwinn, when they first opened the Panasonic factory.
Yeah.
Right.
Series 7.
So there was the Schwinn Peloton and there was the Schwinn Paramount. And if you knew what you were doing, you get a Paramount.
That was made in Waterford.
That was made in Waterford, Wisconsin. And that bike, however long it would take you to get it. So, I mean, they would crank out some frames that were just standard. If you wanted a custom one, it was a little bit different. But then they opened that Panasonic factory and Schwinn was having their bikes built there. Schwinn Peloton, exact same bike as a Paramount. Mm-hmm. A lot of times better, right? Because you didn't get a Monday bike. You didn't get a Friday bike. Which was, you were always bound by who built that. You didn't know who it was. But the Peloton, was just an absolute rocket, but it was dressed down. It was painted red. You got red or white, I think, were the only colors. There might be a few black ones out there, but once you got that red off, that bike was full chrome underneath. There were a lot like that. Univega was a big one.
Yeah,
Ben
Univega,
Lawley.
Univega back in the day. It's so funny. Univega was one of those bike manufacturers that were so good at the beginning, and then they went somewhere. I don't know if they got bought out or what happened, but they went. That name just went down.
Yeah, what Ben
really
Lawley
quick.
was like he wasn't really a bike guy. So you know who built Univegas?
Mm-mm.
Miata. You know who Miata is? A lot of people don't. I mean, Miatas were top-notch steel bikes out of
Really?
Japan.
Yeah, we actually back when I was working for Pete Cycles, we got a bunch of Miatas in but the ones that we got were titanium Miatas. And I don't know who brought them in, but we got like 15 frames and we just distributed them through everything. Mark Frazier had one. John Hughes had one. I mean, name dropping all these guys that had these titanium. I was going to Towson. I couldn't afford one. Right? So, but I saw all these guys with the Miatas around. They were pretty sweet bikes.
Yeah,
for sure.
the Super Strata to this day is probably one of the best road bikes I ever rode. A rocket ship. Absolute rocket.
Have you ridden the SL7 or SL8?
They're made of carbon. They're disposable.
Real steel.
I actually have a titanium Colnago.
Oh wow!
You mentioned
There you go.
Colnago.
We might have a buyer.
That's an expensive ass bike. Let me just tell you.
It was, but it
yeah.
was made out of like a Russian shovel. Like,
What?
I mean, there's titanium and there's titanium.
Yeah.
And this titanium, it's not good titanium.
Yeah, that's kind of like so I had a giant not TCR. What was the mountain bike, the hardtail?
Which one?
Not the NRS. The NRS was the full suspension. What was the hardtail?
Like the XTC.
XTC. Thank you. I had a giant XTC titanium, John Tomac edition.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
Now you're going back.
Dude,
now you're talking like Schwinn homegrown.
I broke that bike every time I rode it.
Yeah.
I broke so many of those frames that they finally said, we don't even have any more to give you, Donald. So they sent me the first carbon frame that they made after that. And I got on those. I mean, I was breaking them and it was Russian tie. That's the reason. They kept saying, oh, it's
off
Russian.
a tank or something.
Yeah, it was Russian
melted
tie.
down.
I don't even know what that meant, but it was like,
that's what it meant.
They're Russian tie. They were like
the Russian military made they make like shovels out of titanium. They had so much of it, but it wasn't good titanium.
Yeah, they told me that the reason that they were failing was one, I was riding a pure cross country bike too aggressive. It wasn't designed to be hucking off of jumps the way that we. I mean, dude, we're talking. We're
Knowing
talking.
you,
he's
that was
not
probably
lying.
right.
No, we're talking 25-year-old Donald, right?
Wild
bro,
man.
I was whatever the trails. We rode with less suspension on way rougher trails, right? And I'd be up in the watershed with it, and I think I had.
And there weren't trails in the watershed then. You made your own
26-inch wheels with, I think my suspension on the front was like 60 mil or 50 mil.
rocking a Rock Shox dart.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think of it. Back then when I was riding that, a downhill fork was 80 mils of travel. That was a downhill fork. Yeah. The Judy.
Now it's like 200.
The Judy.
Hold on. You have bar ends on it?
Of course it had bar ends. Dude, I had purple
How wide
Anza.
were those bars?
Purple Anza bar ends.
I have a
And
more
look-
important question. What color were your tires, buddy?
My tires back then. You want to hear something even crazier?
I got you, Paul.
No, want me to tell you something even crazier? Most tires were black and tan.
Oh,
Yeah.
The Tomax.
50% off.
Most tires were black and tan back then. Most of them, unless
If
you
you
got
weren't running Tomax, you weren't running.
you either had the Anzas, which had an all white tire for a little while, and what were the red? The Fire
Panaracer.
Panaracer Fire Pros.
Yeah.
Elvis.
I think that's what I put on the tarmac.
Yeah, Panaracers, man.
Go ahead, Paul.
We were riding the other day, Mike, Donald, and I were riding, and Donald was telling me a story about some guy writing an article. he's done the research, and black and tan tires he thinks are not actually faster. That's how scary this whole thing has gotten.
Yeah, so we want to get this guy on our podcast, and we want to talk to him about how he came up with his
Preposterous. It's preposterous.
So you're saying that the black and tan videos might get flagged by YouTube because of No.
I think we're in the misinformation zone.
misinformation.
Oscar Huckle is the guy's name. Oscar Huckle.
You know that
I want to have a conversation with you, Oscar.
He's partially right. Maybe not now, but there was a time when tires first became all black that they were lighter because they didn't have the gum sidewall, which was sort of like a layer of, I mean, it's pressed in there, but they were theoretically.
No, I get it. Things
heavier.
evolve, though.
Yeah.
Things evolve.
I know guys who run pink tires. Have you ever guys seen that?
I know of one guy who runs.
They're
pink
unique.
tires.
They're unique.
Wait, are we talking pink tires like on a BMX bike or
No, on a road bike
on a road
specifically.
bike?
Yeah.
That's bold
That's
No,
bold,
that is
right?
bold.
Yeah.
Very bold.
because they don't stay pink for very long. You know.
Yeah.
No, once you
Not
go
unless
pink,
you take it.
that's it.
If you've got pink tires and you're pulling the train,
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh, here it comes. Here he comes.
here it
He's coming
comes.
again.
All right.
He's got a backup set, Trace. Don't worry. Don't worry.
oh boy.
So I had to go and get my pink tires, right? So we're gonna do a plug.
I thought you were getting the bike.
Oh man, those are limited edition
No.
Giros. Yeah.
Dude, now you've changed your
What are you
mind,
gonna
right?
put? Hey,
changed
I
your
rode
mind.
a pink and pearl white bike, so you remember that thing.
This is the tire.
$120, ladies and
Let
gentlemen.
me tell you.
That's
about-
actually cheap for tires.
Let me
now,
tell
I
you
think.
about
Like,
so individually numbered tires. This is handwritten number. This is 900 and my eyes are bad. What is that?
902.
902 out of 1,000 tire right.
Let me put it on the screen so they can see. Wait, what?
Yeah. So only 1,000 of them made for the Giro Italia. I bought 2 sets of them.
We're giving this one away to.
I bought 2 sets of these tires, and so I went to order them through our Victoria rep, and he was like, "All right, $120." I'm like, "No, I want to order them for me."
yeah.
And he's like, $120. I'm like, I want to order them for not for a customer. They're for me. He's like, there's no deal on them. They're limited edition. You can't get them anywhere. If you want them, they're $120 a piece. So I bought 4 of them.
Why aren't they on a bike?
I do. I have them on my bike.
He has them on the bike.
I rock
That's
them.
why, that's why we were saying we know one guy.
How fast are they?
They're not as fast as the black and tan tires, ladies and gentlemen.
I was just gonna
But-
say that, Paul. You might have to change the name of
Wait,
the black and
they're
tan.
not
so-
as fast, or you're not as fast.
I'm the one consistent thing on my bike, right? So everything else is based around me. I'm going to be as fast as I'm going to be, but if I put a faster tire on it, the bike and me go faster. So I can tell you that these look better.
I need
Trace.
to see Strava numbers.
Trace.
I need,
Yeah.
to, I need data.
When he says that stuff, he even believes it. He does.
Yeah, he does.
He lost me. He lost me on the first.
I practice in the mirror.
I want Strava. I want to see it.
I
I want to
practice
see
in
a
the
chart.
But
I
there's
was 200. I was 210 pounds this morning.
yeah. But these are light. They're pretty cool. I thought that I had that bike that kind of. It all started with why is the color pink so offensive to dudes?
I don't think it's offensive.
I feel like it's
It's-
not offensive, it's more of insecurity.
Yeah, no, I get it, but I mean, like, I came out with my bike, and when I first got the frame, I just thought it was a cool color, and I was like, oh, I'll get that color. I built it up, and immediately, people either thought it was really, really cool, or they were like, who's riding that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, is this your bike?
That's
I'm
a
like,
chick bike.
yeah. They're
Yeah.
like, is that your wife's bike? I'm like, it's a 58, bro. I don't have an Amazon for a wife, right? But it's like, whose bike is that? I'm like, oh, it's mine. Oh man, I couldn't do that. I mean, you could pull it off, but I couldn't do that.
Donald, tell everybody what my response was when he pulled up to that group ride. What do you think about this?
What do you think about this? But so the pink tires and the pink bike went so far to the point where I got matching bikes, right? So I have a matching mountain bike that matches my road bike. My road bike has pink tires on it. My mountain bike has pink grips on it. And it's a conversation piece. I mean, you know how it is, Trace. What we do as employees of a bike shop is we need to spark conversation, right? Every conversation leads to this, that, or another, but ultimately we want it to lead to them coming back into the shop.
Right. Yeah.
So whatever we need to do to spark that conversation, to get people talking bikes, to get them back in the shop, it's another tool.
Your experience is paramount.
Yeah.
Elvis, look at your text. Look at your text now based on this conversation and ask yourself why he does not have this helmet.
Ooh, that's
There you go.
nice.
Right?
That's nice.
That is nice.
That's nice.
So
You gotta show them.
can you
You
show-
gotta show them.
It's limited edition. Can they- I don't-
And Donald, you didn't get to my response when you asked me, what do you think about this?
What was your response?
And I said, that's definitely you.
Yeah, that's another polite way of saying that someone didn't like my bike.
Ooh, that's good. That
I said it the other day. I loved it. So
goes good.
That's
Yeah.
hot. That kind of reminds me. The back end of that helmet reminds me of the new
10% off.
the new Specialized helmet. That we
Yeah.
have.
I'm a brand ambassador. I can get him more than
Yeah.
10% off.
The
We're
event-
good.
There you go.
The
There you go.
Evade. Can you be a brand ambassador for multiple
Yes,
things
you
like
can.
that?
yeah,
Paul?
you can.
So if you're brand ambassador for Ford, can you be a brand ambassador for Chevy as well?
No.
Isn't it the same company?
Ford and Chevy?
Yeah, I would say Ford. I would say Ford. They're both. I would say Ford
I
and
wanna-
Toyota. You're
I want-
not going to be Ford and Toyota.
I
They're
want
all
to say
made in-
I'm
they're all
endorsed by
made in the
Canyon
same
and
factory,
Specialized.
Elvis.
I
Right.
want everybody
Same
to
factory.
forgive my friend Elvis, especially those guys driving Ford
But
trucks and
it's
Chevy
General
trucks.
Motors.
No,
General
No.
Motors is
you're
Chevy.
thinking of Chevy and like GMC.
Oh, my bad,
Pontiac.
guys.
Yeah.
My bad.
He's not,
Oldsmobile.
dude.
Yeah.
He's
I drive
not,
an Audi. Sorry, guys. I don't
Yeah,
know
he
about
does.
American
It's
cars.
okay. It's
VW.
okay. Forgive him.
It's like Volkswagen and Audi. They're
Same.
right.
Yeah, those are the same.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or
100%.
Lamborghini.
Lamborghini,
Porsche.
Audi, kinda, yeah, close, but forgive him for the Ford. and
Sorry.
Chevy. Like that. Literally, there's some guys
You were
that
close.
there's some guys that
It's
grab
all right.
guns for that one. They're like, dude, we're going after this dude.
There may be
Our
some hate
podcast is not on
there may
Frederick.
be-
Yeah. There's some Frederick guys that really took offense to that one, for sure. All right, guys. So we're getting close. We're getting close. This hour went pretty fast, man. I like this. So we're getting close to the end. Normally, Paul, do you want to run through our normal ends, like figure out what they are?
Well, we got.
We already
do have
have
some-
3 comments
yeah.
regarding the Ford.
Yeah, that's there's some hate.
Sorry,
There's some
guys.
hate mail coming our way. There's some hate mail coming our way.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm
Don't-
looking at it right now. They're pretty funny.
Don't unfollow, guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologized already. So
Please address all concerns to 760-755-94.
no. Right. So,
Just text Chevy or Ford to one of that number.
yeah, for sure.
You should have a poll.
Oh yeah,
Now.
that's right.
And this episode today is brought to you by Ford.
Yeah, brought to you by. So we normally ask our guests that come on like quick things like, what is it, Paul? Who taught you how to
First
ride?
bike.
a bike? First
Who
bike.
taught you on your first bike? Yep.
Who what?
Who taught you how to ride your first bike?
Probably my dad.
Do you remember? Was it anything
It was
exciting?
a bike that he pulled out of like the trash and painted.
Nice. Was that your
Yeah.
first bike?
It was, yeah.
That's original. We haven't gotten that one yet.
It was orange. The first bike that I got for Christmas, I actually have a picture of me with it in the shop. It was it was one of those banana seat, the rodeo bike
Oh, okay.
that everybody had.
Love that.
That's cool.
But yeah, my parents, when I opened the shop, they gave me that picture, like first bike shop. It was pretty
That
cool.
is
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Love
Dave, what about you? You've been on the show before, but we've never asked you.
It was my dad. Yeah, my dad taught me how
What
to
was
ride a bike.
what kind of bike was it?
I'm sure it was some Toys R Us 20-inch special.
But your dad was kind of in the industry, right?
Yeah. Yeah, my
Okay.
dad did fits for 10 years,
Nice.
10 years plus. Just retired.
Mike, your turn. What was your first?
S Works probably.
I wish. So I usually got the hand-me-downs from my brothers. So mine was definitely a hand-me-down. And I'll never forget, we had this 2-acre open field in front of our first house that we lived when my parents immigrated to the U.S. And I don't know, my dad was always adamant that you'll never, ever have training wheels on your bike. So I started out with no training wheels. Some kids start out with training wheels.
Right.
So my dad just took me to this open field and just kept pushing me. And he said, you're going to learn to balance yourself and you just keep pedaling until you get it.
You remember what kind of bike it was?
I don't actually. I mean, it was probably like Dave here, one of those Toys R Us bikes. But my dad would just say, get on with it, chap, and just push
Yeah.
me. You
And
know?
Elvis, same question. Because like I said, you've been on the show before. I don't think we've ever asked you.
Dude, if I share my story, like how we started riding, it would be wild. So growing up, I grew up in Nicaragua and I came here when I was 10. So a bike was like more like a tool. Like whoever had a bike essentially would be like, have a motorcycle today or you have a car. So the bike that was available, it was what you rode. It wasn't really your size. But since it wasn't your size, what we used to do, you will put your leg. I don't know if you guys ever seen this. You will put your leg through the frame, not go over, but through the frame. And that's how we rode our. I don't think I had a bike until I was like 13. Yeah.
That's how Dave test rides my bikes.
That's how I have to test ride those big bikes.
But yeah, probably. I remember my dad sent me a bike. It was like a female bike because it had the frame. But that's the only memory I have.
So you don't remember how like learning or anything?
Yeah, I don't remember that. Yeah.
Wow.
I got a question. Have you guys ever ridden a bike with corn cob inner tubes?
I have not.
Mm-mm.
I didn't know that was
So on our farm in North Carolina that we still have, we had bikes there, but you didn't have inner tubes, and it was, it's like 30 minutes to town, and there weren't bike shops there. So my grandmother would take, used corn cobs, like, feeding the animals, whatever, soak them in water, and then stuff them inside the tire, and we would ride those things.
What?
With corn cobs inside.
So would they wet them to expand?
Like, no, you wet them so that they bend.
Soft,
right?
yeah.
They get soft,
Yeah.
and then they put them up in there. And of course, we were riding on like lumpy. The driveway was,
So you
if you
wouldn't
call
know
it the
anyway.
driveway, it was like the road, right?
Right.
The family road
Wow.
on the dirt. So it
I
didn't
have-
really matter. But man, that's a ride. If you've never experienced it, you
I
should
have
do it one
seen-
day.
I don't.
I
don't know
put
if I'm-
grass one time that I
I
got
was
a
about to
flat.
say,
I did
someone's-
grass.
I've seen someone stuff leaves and stuff
Yeah.
inside their tire, and actually make it back to the car. And I
Mhm.
was amazed. I was like, while he was doing it, I was like, "Ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work. Like you're wasting our time. Ain't gonna work." And damn, if it didn't work good enough to get him back to the car, I'm like, "Damn, dude. All right, well, that's
That
an
I
option
haven't
now."
seen.
Patent
Now,
pending.
now he's
organic
got a
products.
patent.
I've seen
He's
people
got a
use
patent
leaves
for
as a
push
plug.
cord.
That works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine
I'm pretty
that.
sure GCN did a special on that too, like using whatever you can to mend your
Yeah,
tires.
be creative.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Well, that's it. Why don't you let everybody know where to find this episode on your channel?
So we had it on both channels. We had it on Black and Tan, and we also were streaming live on the DMV MTB channel. So thank you so much, everyone who joined the live. Thank you for the comments. But yeah, we have fun here, and I don't know if you want to
Yeah. So
say goodbye. Yeah.
So again, to all the usual Black and Tan viewers and fans and family members like that, I really appreciate it. I want to thank Trace and Mike for coming in.
Thanks.
That was really cool of you guys. Me and Trace are going to have to. We have a little bone to pick with one of our vendors, so we're probably going to talk off camera. I said I probably wouldn't.
Oh, yeah.
I said I probably wouldn't. I didn't want to really bring it up because it wasn't that type of podcast. But just to throw a little heat in it, I wanted to let people know, just in case someone's watching, we gotta talk over some things.
And then if Trey wants, go ahead, Paul.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, because we're not going to see him for a couple of weeks. And by the way, next episode, Donald, I think we're going to do things we want Santa to bring us.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Thinking about an S Works pink.
Yeah.
Trey, do you want to do a plug in on your shop? What do you sell?
I mean, I don't really need to, but you know, like that's not this kind of thing. I mean, it's just not that. You know, I'm a guest here, but
No. But
you know, we're a small like community shop.
Okay.
You know, that's kind of how we roll.
I'm gonna do it. His shop is Catonsville Bike Shop. If he doesn't want to plug it, it's a great shop. Great guys, easy to deal with. You guys sell skateboards as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
skateboards,
cool.
BMX.
BMX skateboards. They do a lot of stuff that we don't necessarily do here. And I send people his way all the time, and he supports us and sends people our way. We work really good together. Like I said, we're outside of the shop. We're friends, and we've been friends way before the shops. So,
If you like surf shops, we're like a surf shop that's a bike shop.
Yeah.
Laid back.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. And Mike, you have some branding on your hat too.
Yeah, so our family business, we're an engineering firm that specializes in industrial grade food processing equipment. So for spice mills and corn mills. So for those of you who have probably had McCormick Spice, they have gone through our equipment, which is to some people pretty cool, but people always ask, how the hell did our family get into that?
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's a whole nother podcast episode.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in. It was really cool. Paul, thank you for tuning in from your house.
Peace and love. Hey, why don't you go get in a rabbit hole tonight, and then wake up weigh 210 again in the morning. I think that's a good idea.
Well, wait, you think I didn't weigh 210? What do I weigh?
No, I know you do. I know you do.
Did I say I didn't weigh 210?
No. You said you weighed 210. I said that was before the Taco Bell. I looked in the garbage the other day. I was disappointed. We can talk about that later.
Yeah. Well,
I caught him eating chicken wings the other day.
Dave threw me under the bus today too. He was like, "I don't want to throw you under the bus, but your eating habit sucks."
I think Dave was driving the bus.
Throw me under the bus.
I ordered a pizza for us before we.
Yeah,
Donald and I didn't eat any.
No, I didn't eat any. Let me tell you, I get really upset. Like I equate everything. I equate everything in like bike dollars or car dollars, right? So whenever I'm like, I see something going down the road, I'm like, damn, dude, that's like 5 S works, right? Like it's easy. So whenever I get like, I eat a. What was
Jersey Mike's?
No, a month I eat a Mercedes AMG car payment every month.
Yeah, we're talking about that.
Yeah, crazy. Maybe $1,000 a month in fast food.
Of Jersey Mike's.
It's that.
That's your jam.
Paul, we're going to talk nutrition next episode as well, okay?
Well, Mike was supposed to share some of his nutrition, but we never got to it.
No,
Talk too much about Giant.
We'll be back.
We'll be back.
Part 2.
All right, guys. Have a great night. All right, guys. Peace.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night.